Hey everyone, it's Brandy from Brandy Burrow Astrology, back with Ellie Adams for another Forensic Astrology video. Thanks, Ellie, for joining again.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, on a little bit of a break. We had the holiday and then, getting over being sick. And so now back on my channel with a new video. Today we're doing Marvin Gaye. Oh my God. Love Marvin Gaye. I love him. Been wanting to do this one for a while. I don't know why, but the time didn't seem right until now. So here we are. Marvin Gaye, if you don't know who he is, get on Apple Music right now and look up Marvin Gaye Essential Hits. Huge Motown artist. So many hits, like Heard It Through the Grapevine, How Sweet It Is. So many songs, like
Gotta give it up.
Yes. What's Going On? That is a classic album. Everyone should have that album in their record collection. But anyway, amazing artist, died really tragically in 1984, was killed by his father. And so a really weird case. It's a day before Marvin's birthday. Marvin Gaye had been living at home with his parents. Yeah, I guess it's safe to say he was going through a dark time in his life. He was struggling with addiction. I believe was going through a divorce, had just had like a lot of success in his career, like a year before though, but just personally going through a really hard time. So living at home with his parents in the house he bought them. And this is on April 1st, 1984. His dad just seems like a loose cannon. I think it's safe to say he was an abusive parent growing up. But his dad was fighting with his mom. Things got a little too heated and went too far. So Marvin Gaye intervenes and upsets the father. Father goes and gets a gun and kills him. Now, a little backstory. Marvin Gaye supposedly bought this gun for his dad to have protection in the home. And so even though we know what happens, there is a little bit of, I guess from his family and friends, there's a little bit of a theory that Marvin Gaye in a way committed suicide because they said he knew his dad had a gun. He knew if he ever laid hands on his dad, that the dad would retaliate and kill him. And so they think by him intervening, breaking up this fight, that he was possibly setting his dad up to kill him.
Yeah.
It's weird. So I'm hoping by looking at the charts, we kind of get a sense of, is that happening or was it just a murder? Did he not want to die? So I guess we'll go into the charts.
Sounds good.
All right. And I'm going to go, it says Marvin Gaye shot / dies. Actually, that's the wrong one. So Marvin Gaye is shot at 12:38 p.m. and is pronounced dead by like 1 o'clock. And so pretty much the first shot he was shot twice. The first shot was fatal. But the charts are the same, even though they're about 20 minutes apart. There's not a whole lot of difference in the charts. So here we go. Can we see that all right?
Yes.
Okay. This is the time he shot. Ellie, what do you see here?
Okay. Well, there are two things that stand out to me first. The first thing is that new moon in Aries that actually, and also we'll look at his chart in a little bit, I'm sure, but this also was, I believe, shortly after his solar return took place this year, which also stands out. And okay, so we were talking about this earlier, and the people in the house at the time were Marvin Gaye, his mom, and his dad, right? Those were the three people in the house when he got shot.
Yes.
And we see in the fourth house of home and family, we see those nasty little fuckers. We see Pluto, Saturn, and Mars. And it's not that Pluto, Saturn, and Mars are nasty, but together like that,
teaming up with Mars and Pluto in their home signs of Scorpio.
Yeah, like that feels nasty to me. And there's something
awful.
Even it does, and there's something even nastier about it with those intercepted. With I don't.
Yeah, this is bad. Like, I agree. These planets on their own are not bad planets. I know Saturn gets a bad rap, but them teaming up together, like, if you're in a fight, you don't want Pluto, Mars, and Saturn teaming up against you.
No, no, and definitely not Pluto and Mars and they're fucking, in a sign that they rule. I mean, it's like fuck.
And like Saturn's the mediator here. Right in the middle. Like, this is, I mean, I use the word intense a lot because we look at true crime, but this is intense.
It is, and it also feels like it almost feels like here, with that Libra actually on the cusp of the fourth house and all that shit. It's like this couldn't. How do I want to word this? It's like, I know the interceptions usually are like hidden, right? Hidden away. They hide things, but it's almost like this fucking threesome here pops off to where it can't be hidden anymore. That's what it's like. Like, I don't like it.
I almost get a sense like it can't be controlled. Like,
yeah.
And I feel like that's odd for an interception, but that's the feeling off of here. It's like nothing can get to this. It's contained in a way, but bad,
Yeah, not a fan here with
This is bad. Yeah. And of course we got Marvin, the victim. He is the Leo ascendant and ruled by the sun in the 9th house. So he's essentially not really mediating, but he's getting in between this fight between his mom and dad. He's trying to protect his mom. Got the moon right there, mother stuff.
Yep.
But it's like 9th house, which makes me think of like justice or doing what's right, trying to settle some kind of, I just feel like, with legal justice, this kind of 9th house type stuff that we see sometimes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially like the philosophical end of that, right? Like, yeah, totally.
Yeah. Now we got the 8th house in Aquarius. This is an odd death. That's pretty literal placement right there. Yeah, everything about this chart, especially with that 4th house. I mean, it's hard to even look away from that 4th house and see what else is going on in this chart because it's like so dense right there. It just screams violence. Now personally, if we're looking at like suicide or questions of suicide, and there is ways, we hear about like suicide by cop, there are ways people kill themselves through others. It's a thing, but in this chart, I don't know if I see a whole lot of markers for suicide, but that's me. What do you think, Ellie?
Not directly. How do I want to put this? It may not have been the conscious intention, but I'm not sure that he minded the outcome.
Yeah, I can see that. Like, not necessarily making the intention to get killed, but I did this and now I know what's coming.
Yeah, kind of.
Because he doesn't leave the house. The dad leaves the altercation to go get the gun, from what I understand.
Yeah.
And in that time, I would think there would be time to escape if you're like, oh shit, what did I just do? Or
yes.
And he's in his room.
Yes.
I think his mom was consoling him or trying to talk to him. But yeah, it's like maybe accepting what the consequences would be. I don't know.
Yeah, there's something yeah. That's like yeah. Yeah.
Now his dad, I guess we can look at the planet. He is Saturn in this chart because the perpetrator is the 7th house Aquarius cusp, traditionally ruled by Saturn. We could look at the modern ruler as well of Uranus, but yeah, he's right there in the 4th house of conflict and endings.
Yeah, for sure. I think in this, I mean, that Uranus does stand out with it conjunct to the South Node, but I think in this chart, Saturn is definitely, you know what I mean? Like he's in this chart is definitely the dad.
He's Saturn.
Definitely.
Now, the fourth house, end of or outcomes or into the situation here, is in Libra, ruled by the exalted Venus in Pisces. His dad really, he got like a suspended sentence. He didn't have to go to prison. They said he was diagnosed with a brain tumor, which was used in his defense. Now, he lived, I believe he died in 1998. So he lived another 14 years with this brain tumor, but it was used as kind of an excuse, I guess.
Like yeah. You know, and also if we want to think of the dad as Saturn right here, it is loosely trying that Venus too. I wonder if that you know plays in it all too with the sentence that he or rather lack thereof.
Yeah. To me, that's just so strange. Like there I mean, I guess there was accountability. He was convicted, but it was just like a suspended sentence in probation. It wasn't really not what I would consider a whole lot of consequence for what happened, but
yeah. It's almost one of those things where I wonder, and I don't really know why, and maybe it is the exalted Venus here, right? But it's almost like I wonder if the courts just felt like this was family shit that they didn't want to fuck with.
It's domestic.
You know what I mean? Because
it's messy. Yeah.
It is, right? And it's not that then that's not okay if that happened to be the case. Like that's not okay. But I do wonder here if it was like, like.
Now his brother lives next door at the time and claims to be like the last one to talk to Marvin, that he held him in his arms as he was dying, which happens quickly. I mean, this was a fatal shot. He was shot twice, but the first shot was fatal. And he says that Marvin's last words were, "I got what I wanted," or something like that. Like, I asked for this. Like, so that's where, you know, he claims this was kind of suicide by dad.
Yeah. Yeah. I
do wonder if that's the Mercury in the 12th, and I'm sorry, Mercury in the 10th house here. Is this a sibling, like, putting that out there? Like, would that have even been a theory without that?
What was now the relationship between he and his dad? It wasn't good, I'm assuming.
No, it's described that it was, I mean, by today's standards, I think it would definitely be described as an abusive household growing up. His dad was not described as being very loving. His dad was like a preacher, pastor, you know, very religious, but would also in his spare time cross dress. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but, you know, for being in the church, you know, in the 40s, this was not considered.
I didn't know that. That's interesting. I mean, I didn't know that part. That's
kind of had another life going on, and had some of his own conflicts, you know. And so, but no, it sounds like a very strained relationship always.
Was that known at the time that this happened? If it was, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it could have, if all of that was known, like that the relationship was strained, maybe it would have come out eventually. But I think I think that Mercury probably is the sibling kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Letting it kind of be
putting it out,
known.
maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
And let me be clear, I don't think it's like a rumor. I think, you know, sibling saying, hey, he said this, and really believes that his brother did this, and was expecting those consequences.
Yeah, I could see that being the case. Again, maybe not the intention originally, right? Like, you know, perhaps just wanting to come to his mother's defense, you know, at first, but then kind of not minding what the consequence could be or might be.
I don't want to say it makes sense, you know, but it's like he's in a dark place. He's living with his parents. He's got people fighting around him. Could he have been just like, I'm tired, I'm done, you know?
Yeah. And you know, talking about being in a dark space and probably some pain. We do see, and I know it takes longer to, you know, but that Chiron is at 29.
Mm-hmm.
And it does kind of, I don't know, especially in the 10th house, right? Which could also tie into parents, maybe one parent or the other. I don't know. There is something about that kind of stands out, like, like just kind of being done.
Being perhaps. Yeah, absolutely. You know, the energetic degree is about tying things up. You know, there's an urgency, like, got to finish this before we go into the next sign, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm going to, or I was going to pull up his birth chart to take a quick look at that. You good with moving forward? Okay. So, this is his birth chart. Now this has an A rating, but like me and Ellie were discussing, it said he's born right at noon.
Yeah. I always side eye that shit because it's like, you know, I mean, and that's possible, right? But that's just, I don't know.
Like, was it really? That seems too clean.
Or did y'all just not want to put 1208 on there?
Or 1203, 1213. Yeah. So, but I will tell you, in this birth chart, he's got the sun at the 10th house, a very famous individual. So maybe around noon, I think, you know, and I use the equal houses or whole sign houses. So maybe no matter what, it would fall into these houses. So, you know.
Yeah. I mean, that sun conjunct the midheaven is very, like, very pronounced.
Very pronounced.
Very pronounced.
Now, Cancer rising. And so his chart ruler is the moon in Virgo in the 3rd house. You know, you see a lot of 3rd house activity with singer-songwriters.
I'm sorry, say that one more time. I'm sorry, I got distracted looking at I'm sorry about that. I got distracted looking at the Uranus South Node conjunction. Say what you just said again.
We're going to recap for Ellie.
Sorry. I'm so sorry about that.
This is what I love about our friendship. We could be like, I'm sorry, I wasn't listening to you. Can you say that again?
I usually am good, but I got really fucking distracted looking at something. Okay.
I just wanted to put a little tidbit out there about how his chart ruler is the moon in the 3rd house in Virgo, and that we see the 3rd house activity with singer-songwriters. I do. I mean, in a lot of charts, you know.
Yeah, no, you do, because it's, you know, music and singing and song, it's a language, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're using language, but it's also a language all on its own. And
communication.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, I'd like to hear your thoughts about the Uranus South Node conjunction.
Well, that was going on in the other chart, right?
There is a lot of shit going on in the chart that looks like his birth chart. In fact, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just go to the transit so we can see this, okay? And don't give me a comment about our language. Like, this is just how we talk. I'm kidding. Okay. Let me get it up here so I can see. Okay, so this is his birth chart and the death chart, which is only 20 minutes from time being shot. This is a transits, basically, when he dies.
Yes. Yeah, he has that in his natal chart too. And it's almost like, okay, so what is that? That's like 7 degrees apart in his natal chart. It's like 6 degrees apart in the transits. That's interesting.
That's weird.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. We also got Venus and Pisces, like he does in his natal. And I mean, they're 20 degrees apart, but they're still same sign. We got the sun. Yeah. You're right. You know, solar return. They're both at 12 degrees. It's like when you're looking at the death chart and the birth chart, you're almost like, I've seen this. Like, you know, you see a lot of the same things kind of going on.
Yeah. That's very, very interesting. Huh.
Yeah.
How about that?
What's
Huh.
kind of weird here too, I don't know, you know, that Jupiter is in Capricorn when he dies. It's right on Mars. He has a pretty strong Mars in his chart. He's got Mars in Capricorn, which is exalted, you know. Jupiter kind of expanding that Mars. Now, he is born during the day. And so by Hellenistic theories, Mars would be the more malefic planet in his chart. And we got Jupiter there just kind of expanding.
Expanding it. And then we have that new moon in Aries. You know, that's also, you know, Mars rule. That does feel like, in this case, this particular new moon feels, I mean, for other people this new moon in 1984 may not have felt violent. For this one, it definitely feels more, well, I don't know about that actually, because like you have those three motherfuckers and their little threesome, you know, too, that also feels kind of violent as well. So
it's like a perfect recipe, because if you look at his chart, and this is one chart, you know, a lot of times, well, every time, you know, get the 4th and 10th house are going to be the parents. Sometimes the 4th house is mom, sometimes it's dad. In his, I'm pretty convinced the 4th house is dad, because it's ruled by the Venus in Pisces. His dad is a religious guy. And the 10th house is in Aries, ruled by that Mars, which would be mom. And then we got this going on this day. He's protecting his mom.
Yeah.
Which leads to his death. Yeah. Mars is a problem for him.
Mars is a problem. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, Jupiter makes contact with Mars all the time, and individuals don't get killed by their parents. So I want to say, like, we're just looking at this chart specifically, you know.
Yes, for this particular situation. Yeah.
And there's a lot of different parts going on too, like the new moon in Aries and, like, you know, being Mars rolled and but yeah, it's I don't know what I want to say about this. Like, it's wow, it's crazy.
The ascendant for the time of death, or the time that he got shot, is squaring his nose. Right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It is by almost pretty tight. It's within a degree. Now we got stuff going on with that north node. You know, we got Pluto. It's 7 degrees, but it's, to me, you're going to feel that when Pluto is within that close to that north node. You got Saturn kind of on the other side. It's sandwiched.
Yeah, this does feel like this probably wasn't a very comfortable time for him, and just in, you know, because these planets take a little longer to transit. Pluto for sure, Saturn, but this particular period of time probably was not super comfortable for him.
No, it's pretty challenging. Sad time for him for sure.
Was there, you know, because that north node in his 5th house, was there anything about him feeling like creatively blocked or stifled in any way?
You know, I'm not sure, because like a year before he won a Grammy, he had a comeback with, if anyone remembers from the 80s, the Sexual Healing song, you know, he had a comeback and it was like really popular. So career-wise, and when we have the new moon in his house of career, like there is like new things beginning here. It sounds like career-wise and creatively should have been okay.
Okay.
I do think it's like a lot of personal shit going on in his life at the time, though, you know, like things kind of falling apart on the inside.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
I mean, you got Neptune in the 7th house. He was, you know, I guess going through a divorce or separation. Neptune can be a weakness. Now, not everyone has Neptune in their 7th house ends up divorced, but you know, there's a weak spot here. It's coming up with his Mars as well, and I just think a lot of internal conflict. But.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
that does.
I'm just gonna leave it there. I just wanted to look at the charts. It's such an odd way to pass. I don't know what I want to say. It's just so odd. I just wanted to look at the charts and kind of just, explore what was going on. And I don't know. What's your final thoughts? What's your final theory?
I think he, that I'm also thinking like Aries energy, right? That new moon in Aries. Aries energy can be kind of impulsive, right? And instinctive, right? So kind of impulsively, and if you feel like the 10th house is the mom, and I agree with you, right? Like I'm thinking he impulsively and instinctively went to protect his mom. Dad goes and gets his firearm, his bullshit, and I think he kind of had this, okay, so this is going to happen now, because like you said, he could have run out,
bolted, right? I would think, or at least
he could have taken mom and gotten the fuck out.
There's no indication he was like, shit, I better get out of here. Yeah.
No, it doesn't sound like there was. And it also doesn't look like there was. That's kind of, so I don't necessarily think that he went into the situation, like that new moon in Aries, it feels too impulsive to really think about it ahead of time.
Yeah. Or it's not premeditated, right?
Yeah, I don't think that he was like sitting there thinking, ooh, how can I don't think it was like that. I think it was just like he did this and it was like, okay, this is going to happen now, or something like this is going to happen. And
I'm with you. I think that's how it went down too. I don't think it was planned, but I think it was do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So rest in peace, Marvin Gaye. I love you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ellie, for joining me. If you guys not enjoyed the like what happened to Marvin Gaye, but if you enjoyed the discussion, the video, the astrology, please give a like. It lets us know that you're enjoying the content, and subscribe and go to Ellie's channel. Ellie, tell everyone where they can find you.
Okay. Let me throw this out there. For now, it's December 7th. December 7th, 2023 right now. If you happen to watch this, well, okay, let me back up. December 7th, we're filming this on December 7th, 2023. If you're watching this before early January 2024, you can find me at Let's F with Astrology on YouTube. After that, it'll probably be changed to Saturn Season Astrology.
And what about online? Where's your website?
SaturnSeason.com, and Instagram is Saturn Season Astrology.
Yeah. If you have any trouble, I was gonna say, if you have any trouble finding Ellie, comment. I'll get you in touch with her.
Okay, sounds good. Because it might be kind of screwy here in the coming month. Where can you be found now?
Well, I can be found here at Brandy Burrow Astrology on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and brandyburrowastrology.com for readings. So reach out, leave a comment, let us know your thoughts about Marvin Gaye. Appreciate you watching, and we'll see you guys next time.